in my approach to this movie. There was just certain areas that stuck out to me as problematic when sort of starting to come up with concepts for them, and one of them was hell. The original script, hell is a black void, and it was like the ground was like an oil slick, and there was some bones lying around. I thought, that's all been kind of done before. What would make it more relatable? And I thought, because I'm approaching everything in a sort of a realistic way, it'd be really interesting to give a real geography to hell.
Francis had done a lot of visual homework to really set up what he wanted. He showed me pictures, he had a lot of references. He wanted hell to be a freeway from the get-go.
There's also a little bit of a joke of, the LA freeway system being hell.
I had an idea early on about what I thought hell should look like. And in one of my first meetings with Francis and Naomi Shohan, I suggested that hell look like that moment when the heat wave from the nuclear blast hits everything just before the shock wave, which blows it all apart. And when the heat wave hits, things stream off violently, they melt, they catch fire, they start to blow apart, but they aren't really disintegrating until the shock wave hits. And I said, maybe hell is that moment during a nuclear blast, but it lasts forever.
And I thought that was just great. I mean, that just kind of finished it all off. So you just have this insane, super directional wind.
We had videos of nuclear tests, the ones that they did in White Sands. We also had a videotape from a place that researches decomposition of bodies. So we looked at decay and destruction.
Naomi started working on design sketches for what hell might look like. And in the end, we came up with the hell that you're going to see in the movie.
By the time that we started working with Mike and Francis, a lot of the conceptual work had been done for the Hell Freeway. They'd done storyboards and illustrations and even some animatic work. The developmental work that we were doing was more in taking these illustrations, like the key art that we've seen, into the three-dimensional world.
To create the hell environment, we used virtually every trick in the book.
It pulls up and down.
The Hell Freeway set was actually pretty cool. The production designer and art department did a fantastic job of filling an entire stage with a recreation of a freeway that had been destroyed as if in an earthquake, and also a lot of cars that are sort of in this process of erosion.
Despite the size of this set, this is a very small part of the environment. We are creating the entire city of Los Angeles as if it were in hell. In this film, hell is essentially a parallel universe, and we're trying to stay true to Los Angeles.
So we would start with these photographic pictures of Keanu walking down a freeway with a lot of wind on him, and we started building all that in the computer.
Everything you see that's here, all the cars, whatever you're looking at, will actually be replaced by CG objects. Because as the wind blows, all of this erodes. The husks of cars that have gotten so light and so eroded are blowing through the air like tumbleweeds.
So the art department had one row of gigantic Ritter fans like 6-foot diameter blades, just constantly blowing. Originally the plan was to put a lot of Fuller's earth or like dirt in the air so that the scene would be really thick atmospherically, but for a lot of reasons, health being one of the more foremost, we weren't able to do that. So we ended up putting all that stuff in digitally as well.
A lot of particle animation to create hell. We rendered huge amounts of volumetric debris. They're not just two-dimensional layers of smoke. They hit things, they wrap around them, they have eddy currents.
This is all the airborne detritus, flakes of metal, debris flying through the air, a lot of dust, a lot of fire.
I think we ended up with something like 8 different types of hell atmosphere. We really a pretty dense environment. From there, we take all those elements, we start packaging them together in the compositing stage. We also add a lot of things like heat distortion, or sometimes throw some of the elements out of focus to simulate a camera's depth of field, add flashes and lighting effects, just put all the elements it takes to create a hell shot together.
I just pulled a soldier demon out of a little girl. Looked like it was trying to come through.
I think the inspiration for the demons in hell came from some photographs that we had seen of cadavers that had been through autopsy, where we had seen these remains of these human beings, which essentially had no brains.
And I just thought, wow, this is like, there's something really insane about these things, not having a brain, not having a soul, really something really empty about and sort of scary about that. And I just thought that was really kind of a cool, weird approach to these kind of, automatons.
We wanted the demons in hell to not just be frightening, we wanted them to appear to have a lot of weakness. We wanted them to seem almost like they weren't smart enough to know anything except they had to devour humans who came to hell. And they were sort of pathetic about the way they went about it. They had to do it in groups, and they were kind of sad looking.
So they all have really bad sort of curvature of the spine, and they're all really skinny with these really bloated bellies.
With the help of the guys at Stan Winston's studio, we set about designing the creatures for the movie. And Stan's guys built a puppet of one of these creatures, which was used in a couple of the shots.
They did a great job. And the detail that they brought in was just amazing.
Every other shot in hell or anywhere else where these demons appear, the demons are computer graphic.